Have you ever ignored hunger because the diet told you it wasn't time to eat? If so, this episode may change the way you think about your body forever. So, what if the problem isn't that you can't trust yourself? What if the problem is that you've spent years being taught not to? Think about it. How many times have you ignored hunger because a diet told you it wasn't time to eat yet? How many times have you eaten when you weren't hungry because somebody told you it was time? How many times have you pushed through exhaustion because resting felt lazy? How many times have you looked at your body and assumed it was the problem? For many women, especially women who've spent years dieting, striving, and trying to get everything right, distrust of the body becomes normal. So normal, in fact, that we don't even notice it anymore. But what if our body isn't the enemy? And we might not even think of it as the enemy, but maybe we treat it like it is. What if your body has been trying to help you all along? That's what we're talking about today. Welcome back to the Nourished Life for Christian Women. This month, we're talking about trusting our body again. And I want to begin with what may be the most important question of all. How did we lose trust in ourselves in the first place? So, over the last couple of months, we've been talking about identity. We've been talking about accepting our worth and that that's not touchable. But how does that relate to our bodies and our relationship with our bodies? Let me tell you a little story. Several years ago, I remember standing in my kitchen after dinner. I wasn't physically hungry. In fact, I was completely satisfied. But there I had a strong urge to eat something sweet. Now, in my dieting days, that moment would have started an internal battle. You may have had this battle in your head as well. It goes like this: don't eat that. You've been good all day. You have no willpower. Before long, I wasn't listening to my body at all. I was listening to all the argument going on in here. I was listening to rules and fear and judgment. What I eventually realized was that what was the most important question wasn't, should I eat the cookie or not? The most important question was, what's actually going on right now? As I got quiet and got curious, I realized I was tired. I'd had a long day, been carrying some stress. I wanted comfort. The cookie wasn't the issue. My body was not just telling me that it wanted a cookie. My body was trying to tell me that I was tired. Because I finally listened, I could respond with kindness instead of criticism. So moments like that can change things. It can help us to see that our body isn't sabotaging us and that it's not just about willpower, that we have to fight against our bodies. It was realizing that my body was communicating with me. And that's what they're designed to do. So, what's the real problem? Most women I work with have, including myself, have spent years trying to manage, control, shrink, discipline, fix, and override their bodies. We've been taught to distrust hunger, to distrust fullness, cravings, rest, to distrust pleasure, distrust our emotions, distrust our needs. Eventually, we become disconnected from ourselves. The tragedy is that many women believe that this disconnection is wisdom. They think they're being disciplined. I know that's what I thought. When often we're simply ignoring valuable information. Now, does that mean that every urge should be followed? Of course not. But body trust isn't about doing whatever you feel like doing whenever you feel like doing it. It's about learning to hear what your body's communicating and then responding with wisdom. Those are two very different things. So, what does the scripture say about this? The spirit and the body are the soul of man. I love that verse because it reminds us that God never intended us to be divided against ourselves. We often act as though spirituality is good and the body is suspect, something that we've got to be leery of, as though holiness means overcoming the body. The scripture paints a different picture. Spirit and body together create wholeness, not enemies, partners. And God designed our bodies. He created systems of hunger and fullness, fatigue, movement, emotion, pleasure, restoration. They're not mistakes, they're part of his design. Now, like everything else in mortality, those systems aren't perfect, but they aren't problems to eliminate either. They're sources of information. So, why do we stop listening? There are usually three reasons women stop trusting their bodies. First, dieting. Every diet teaches in one way or another that experts know better than we do. The message may be subtle, but over time, that message erodes our trust in ourselves. The second thing is productivity culture. Many of us learned that rest should be earned, that slowing down is weakness, that pushing through is virtue. We stop listening when our bodies ask for recovery. Third, shame. That's a big one. Shame makes us afraid of our own humanity. It tells us that our needs are inconvenient, our emotions are wrong, our desires are dangerous. So instead of listening, we suppress. And the more we suppress, the less connected we feel. But there's a different way. What if instead of asking, how do I control myself? You start asking, what is my body trying to tell me? Imagine the difference. Instead of fighting hunger, we ask, what is my body needing right now? Instead of criticizing exhaustion, we ask, what is my body asking for? Instead of judging emotions, we ask, what information might this feeling contain? This is the beginning of body trust, not blind trust, not perfect trust, but curious trust, compassionate trust, the kind of trust that develops in every healthy relationship. And that's really what we're talking about, building a healthier relationship with yourself. So here's a little challenge. Once a day for the next week, just pause at some point in time and ask, what is my body trying to tell me right now? And then listen. That's it. No fixing, no judging, no analyzing, just listening. Maybe the answer is hunger. Maybe it's thirst. Maybe it's stress, loneliness, joy. Maybe it's fatigue. But simply notice because trust begins with listening. Just like in any relationship, it's true of the relationship we have with our bodies. So, as we begin this month together, I want you to consider this possibility. Your body may not be the obstacle standing between you and peace. It may actually be one of the pathways leading you there. The goal isn't to control yourself perfectly, it's to become whole, to reconnect with the wisdom God has already woven into you, to learn to listen again, and little by little, to trust again. Because the woman of God that God created you to be is not found through more control. She's found through deeper connection. Thanks for being here today. Next week, I'm joined by fitness expert Yelena Pranev for a wonderful conversation about movement, joy, strength, and what exercise looks like when it comes from trust. You're not going to want to miss it. Until next time, remember, eating is peaceful, movement is joyful, and your worth never up for debate. See you next week. If today's episode or any other has resonated with you, I wanted you to know that I offer a free 30-minute call. If you'd like to schedule that, you can find the details for how to do that in the description for this episode. And in the meantime, don't forget to like and subscribe.